tank overboard.
Man overboard.
I'll get my
Man
swim.
overboard on the starboard. Don't take your eye off of him. I'll get the signal fall. Still got him in sight? Okay. Where'd it go? Still got him. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Get the line on as soon as you can. He's got something to hold on to.
I'll get a little more to starboard.
Okay. Hard starboard.
How you doing, Hank? Okay? Let's go.
Okay, give him a hand there.
Come in line.
Put the line again.
Line out there.
Okay, throw. Let me know when you got the line up. Hydraulics going on.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, we got him. Coming up.
Got it.
People who live in the north, who live, work, and play on or near cold water or in cold weather, should be ready to deal with hypothermia. To know what it is, know how to prevent it, how to recognize it, and how to treat it. Whether you realize it or not, most of us have been hypothermic at one time or another. When was the last time you shivered from the cold? Did it take hours or just a few minutes? Hypothermia can develop slowly or very quickly. Hypothermia is an injury that is just beginning to be understood by modern scientists. Hypothermia is the lowering of the body core temperature. The core is the critical inner portion of the body, including the heart, brain, and lungs. The core is where life remains if there is any chance for survival. Before you can understand hypothermia, you need to know that the circulatory system controls the body temperature much like a hot water heating system does in a home. When the arms or legs get cold, the core sends warm blood out to rewarm them. The core can't afford to send out more warm blood without cooling itself. It then reduces blood flow to these areas in order to minimize its own heat loss. However, if too much heat is lost from the body, it will die. We can prevent hypothermia in two ways: by adding heat or by making our shelter more efficient to prevent the loss of body heat. Clothes are our most efficient shelter to protect our body from the environment. If our clothing is adequate, our body core temperature can be maintained by body heat alone and not require another heat source. If our clothing is inadequate, we add a little water, a little wind. You can see how dangerously cold people can get. The main areas of the body to protect from heat loss are the head, neck, armpits, sides, and groin, because they are the areas of greatest heat loss. The old saying to cover your head when your feet get cold makes a lot of sense if you know that over half of the body heat loss is through the head. You know, it's really sad that people spend hundreds of dollars on recreational gear, but only a fraction of that on adequate clothing. Clothing that could protect them from a dangerous and common killer, cold. The best prevention for hypothermia is to stay dry. If you're wet, get dry. If you're in the water, get out, or at least get as much of your body out as possible. Water will rob the body's heat 25 times faster than air at the same temperature. If you're in the water without a survival suit, to slow heat loss, keep the head and neck out of the water. The best way to do that is to wear some type of protective flotation device or lifesaver that keeps the head and neck up. Another important posture protects the groin and armpits from cold water circulation. This is the heat escape lessening posture called the help position. For a group, a good posture is to huddle. It protects the armpits and groin and keeps non-flowing water in the center, which increases survival time. A posture to avoid is one called drown proofing. This is where you put your hands behind your back, you deep breathe, and you bob underwater. This will work in warm water. In these cold Alaska waters, it won't work any time of the year. You actually lose body heat faster because your neck and your head is underwater. You can also keep more of your body out of the water by clinging to something. Another person, a part of the boat, a log, even a floating dead friend. He can save your life. If help is close by, don't swim. It will reduce your survival time in cold water. Each stroke you swim circulates cold water around your body. Your ability to swim becomes less each time you stroke. In midwinter 30 to 33 degree water, it's doubtful that a person could swim more than 50 feet.
Okay, take him in. Get those clothes off him.
How do you recognize that someone is hypothermic? The symptoms of hypothermia include feeling cold, shivering, the loss of coordination, slurred or unusual speech, confusion, impaired judgment, and near the end, feelings of warmth and euphoria, sort of a natural high. In time, the person becomes unconscious. The heart beats erratically, resulting in death by what appears to be a heart attack. In the field, you don't have a means of measuring body core temperature and other vital signs. You cannot rely on symptoms alone to decide how severe the case of hypothermia is. For example, some people don't shiver, and also the victim may not believe he has hypothermia. If a person is improperly sheltered from cold or wet conditions, and he might be hypothermic, it makes good sense to treat him for hypothermia.
Hey, Red, give me a hand. Man, give me a hand.
Unfortunately, many of the old treatments can be dangerous.
Really, we're all right.
For example, don't rewarm the whole body by putting the victim in a hot shower. A hot shower or tub rewarms the surface of arms and legs. This sends a message to the body that it's okay to open circulation to those cold extremities. Vital warm blood sent from the core rapidly cools as it passes through cold arms and legs. When it gets back to the heart, that shot of cold blood can cause an unusual heartbeat, which results in the heart muscle starting to shiver rather than pump. The patient then has a heart attack. Another old treatment is to give alcohol. It's also dangerous. Like a hot shower, it fools the body into thinking it's warm when it isn't.
Want to give us some coffee?
In fact, any liquid can be dangerous
No hot liquids.
because the hypothermia victim is not just cold. He may also be in shock, and you can't give any liquid to a shock victim. He could throw it up, draw the vomit into his lungs, and die from aspiration pneumonia.
Let's be real easy with him.
So, to treat hypothermia safely, be slow and gentle.
How you feeling, Hank?
Don't jar the victim. A hypothermia victim who is being rewarmed should be treated very gently. A sudden jar or shock can also cause an apparent heart attack. It is a fact that even though treatment is progressing, a hypothermia victim's body temperature continues to drop before it starts to rise again. The victim is very vulnerable at this time.
Nice and easy now.
To rewarm a hypothermia victim, use only those treatments that are always safe. The first part of treatment is to take them out of the cold to prevent further heat loss. At this point, the body may not be able to rewarm itself. Blankets will not rewarm a cold body. They only insulate. You need a heat source. First, wrap the cold arms and legs to keep them from rewarming too quickly as you attempt to rewarm the body core of the victim. Then, rewarm the high heat loss areas, the head, neck, armpits, sides, and groin of the victim. The most effective, safe way to rewarm hypothermia victims in the field is to use warm objects and body-to-body rewarming. Warm objects are literally anything that is warm, including warm rocks, lukewarm hot water bottles, warm heating pads, warm packs, or even warm potatoes. But be careful. Be absolutely sure that the objects are not hot. You can burn the victim because of their cold-induced numbness. Hypothermia victims won't be able to tell you if the object is too hot. Check on it yourself, like you would a baby's bath. If it feels uncomfortably warm to you, it's too hot for the victim.
Just one towel. Let's get this under his neck. Got a stocking cap ready? Yes. Just hit it and slide it on. Okay, take it easy. Okay. Hey, Hank, lay your head down nice and easy. Okay. Let's see if we can't start warming up the sides. Let's go body to body. Just get your shirt off, Red.
Body-to-body rewarming is when one or more warm, healthy people embrace the victim within some insulated shelter such as blankets or a sleeping bag. If this treatment is used, one should continue the treatment for at least an hour.
Okay, just take it easy now. We're going to stay here until you get a little bit warmer, okay?
Oh, man, stay there forever. Wow.
Okay.
These rewarming treatments are safe, slow, and gentle. Don't rush them, and be sure to protect the victim from further cold and from shocks or sudden moves. To safely live and survive in a cold environment, you have to know about hypothermia. Hypothermia is the lowering of body core temperature. It's prevented by having adequate shelter for the body, proper clothing. Recognize hypothermia by the victim's physical symptoms and their exposure to the environmental conditions that cause it. Avoid total rewarming of the body. Do not give any liquids, especially hot liquids or alcohol. It's treated with warm objects or body-to-body rewarming, which is safe, slow, and gentle. Hypothermia is a physical condition. It affects the body. Yet a victim's will to live is often the decisive factor in whether or not they will survive.
Well, I always thought survival was physical. You know, if he was really strong, you could make it. But for some reason, I just said to myself, oh, heck, I'm breathing, I'm alive, I'm going to stay with it as long as I can. I did have a lot of water in my suit. I already had hypothermia before I hit the beach. And mainly, it was really hard because I couldn't swim. I didn't have no goal. It was just lay back in the water for the night and see where I was in the daytime. And of course, I didn't know if I'd be near land or not. I was hoping I would be. And it just got to be a battle with myself on thinking of the positive things.
It's a fact that people with mild cases of hypothermia have apparently given up and died, while others have survived under conditions we'd never believed possible.
Whoa! Whoa!
Hey, Hank,
Man overboard!
To know what it is, know how to prevent it, how to recognize it, and how to treat it. When was the last time you shivered from the cold?
Don't take your eye off of him!
Hypothermia is the lowering of the body core temperature. The best prevention for hypothermia is to stay dry.
Get those clothes off him!
It makes good sense to treat him for hypothermia.
give me a hand.
Many of the old treatments can be dangerous.
Come on, we're all right.
Don't rewarm the whole body by putting the victim in a hot shower.
Want to give him some coffee?
You can't give any liquid to a shock victim.
How you feeling, Hank?
Cold, man.
Be slow and gentle.
Nice and easy now.
Blankets will not rewarm a cold body. You need a heat source. Lukewarm hot water bottles, warm heating pads, warm packs, or even warm potatoes.
Okay, just take it easy now. We're going to stay here until you get a little bit warmer, okay?
Oh, man, stay there forever. Wow.
Okay.
Hey, John! John! Come on, John, where the hell are you? Hank! Hank! Hank, it's John. I don't know where the hell he is. I think he's gone over.
Mayday, Mayday, U.S. Coast Guard. This is the fishing vessel Ardent, WZF 8545. We have a man overboard.
We're 3 miles from Rocky Point at a 170-degree heading.
Hey, what's that over there?
Wait a minute, I don't know. It's a hat. It's John's hat.
There he is on the water! I can't reach it! Give me the hook! Give me the hook! Dive! Now!
Most of us have been taught that if you've been underwater for more than a few minutes, you will die. But that isn't true. Even if you have been underwater for as long as an hour, you can still be revived. How can a person live that long underwater? We don't know all the answers, but we do know that cold water makes the big difference. The colder, the better. The water has to be below 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees centigrade. One theory is that like seals, whales, and other air-breathing sea mammals, man can also survive long periods underwater if the water is cold. Dr. Martin Nemiroff is a leading expert on cold water near drowning.
One way to view it is that when you get colder, all your body processes slow down, and so does the self-destructive process of not having oxygen. When the body processes slow down, you need less oxygen to keep that spark of life. And if you need less oxygen and you're just using the oxygen that's already in your body and in your tissues, there's some potential for survival.
How can a victim of cold water near drowning be saved? There are 3 steps rescuers must go through. First, always assume the victim is alive. Rescue him. Second, treat him for drowning. Give him CPR. And finally, get medical help to continue the treatment of near drowning. Let's take the first step. Rescue the victim.
Take it easy, Wendy. Take it easy.
He's dead.
Because of the circumstances, too often rescuers think of a body that needs to be recovered, rather than a victim who needs to be rescued. A cold water near drowning victim looks dead, so it's hard to believe he may still be alive. He has all the signs of death. He's unconscious, his skin is blue or gray, his eyes are cloudy, pupils are dilated, he's not breathing, there's no pulse, no heartbeat. Rescuers think they see a dead person, so they treat him that way.
Death behavior would be leaving that person and running for medical care, for an ambulance, running for another person to help if it was any more than a few seconds away, calling any one of a number of officials. That to me is death behavior, statistic gathering. It's not resuscitation or rescue.
A rescuer must think of preserving any spark of life that may be left. This is called life behavior. Don't try to decide if a person should be rescued. Fitness, health, age, length of time in the water, and how cold the water is all affect a person's chance for life. Don't play the odds. Assume there is life, rescue the victim. And assume life by taking the next step. Treat the victim.
What the hell's going on here?
Skipper said he's dead, Hank.
You don't know that. Shut up!
Hank, nobody can live after being underwater that long.
Go tell the skipper I'm starting
Skipper
CPR.
said he's dead, Hank.
Get out of here! One, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Stay Kodiak, stay Kodiak. This is the fishing vessel Ardent, WZF 8545 calling.
Ardent, this is Coast Guard Kodiak, over.
Coast Guard stay Ardent. We've recovered the body of the crew hand. We're about a half a mile off Thompson Bay on a course toward Kodiak. Our estimated time of arrival is 1700. We have one crew hand that's administering CPR to the body.
Roger, Ardent, stand by.
Yes, sir. Ardent, this is Comstay Kodiak. I have Dr. Nimroff on the line, and he's requesting to know about how long your man was in the water, over.
About 15 or 20 minutes, I'm not sure.
He said about 15 or 20 minutes, sir.
Ardent, this is Comstay Kodiak. Dr. Nimroff states that your man may still be alive and that your crewman is doing the right thing, and we suggest that you assist him, over.
Comstay Kodiak, there's no signs of life at all. There's no pulse, there's no heartbeat. He's not even breathing.
Ardent, Comstay Kodiak, Roger, he'll look dead.
There's a good chance that he isn't. We request you continue CPR until you get medical assistance, over.
There's a chance the victim is still alive, but he needs help to stay alive. That help is called CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. The heart, lungs, and brain have almost stopped and must be restarted. As soon as the victim is pulled from the water, start CPR and don't stop until he's revived. Every second counts.
Hank, you're right. Coast Guard said he could still be alive. What are you doing? Don't stop. He'll die without CPR.
Take the heart. Take the heart.
1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000.
Remember, CPR is the only thing that will keep the victim alive. Even if you've never done it before, no matter how awkwardly you do it, it's better than doing nothing. The victim will die without it.
You know, any kind of effort is better than no effort at all. And so, you know, we'd still encourage someone, if they haven't gotten to that community CPR class yet, to nonetheless get involved with anything. Anything, you know, any kind of an effort at all is better than no effort.
I have lots of cases in my case series of drowning and near-drowning events where parents have resuscitated their own children without having any prior practice or training, having seen it once on television, just knowing about it. And we have had cases of successful CPR that we've coached over the telephone or over the radio in certain cases. Much greater sin not to do it or not to try.
2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 1 1,000, 2 1,000. Hank, it's all right. This is normal. We can't afford to break the rhythm.
Go ahead.
It's a real shock to the rescuer when a victim vomits. During CPR, air builds up in the stomach, which can cause a victim to vomit even when he's unconscious.
Hey, it's all right. Go ahead and take the chest.
It's a distasteful, literally, event, and you may actually get vomitus on your clothes or in your mouth, or worse. If it didn't happen, you've got a very unusual event. But the way it's overcome most frequently is that it's your child or your relative that you're resuscitating. And I can't think of anything in that setting that would be repulsive with the hope of trying to resuscitate my own child.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2.
Hank, I got a pulse. Stop. It's gone, Hank. It's just no good. It's been too long.
Come on. 1, 2, come on.
CPR is hard physical labor. The longer it takes, the more exhausting it becomes. It's an emotional roller coaster ride of ups and downs.
the person has a river of perspiration running off them, and their shirt is soaked and their t-shirt's soaked just from perspiration, and they have the look on their face of just anguish and exhaustion, because it's you know, after a while it gets to the point where your whole body just starts hurting. I mean, you've overstressed every muscle in your chest and your arm, but I've never seen anyone stop. I've never seen anyone give up.
Hank! 4 1,000.
5 1,000.
1 1,000. 2 1,000. 3 1,000. 4 1,000.
It's depressing.
5 1,000.
It's exciting.
1 1,000.
It's frightening.
2 1,000.
It's a mixture of lots of emotions, and they come and they change frequently, and it's kaleidoscopic. They may change from minute to minute, and sometimes from second to second. I've seen rescuers cry, he's not going to make it, we're failing. I've seen others exult in their success.
4 1,000. 5 1,000. 1 2. Breathe! 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 Breathe, John! Breathe!
That's no good, Hank. I don't feel it anymore.
1 1,000.
Come on.
2 1,000. 3 1,000.
You must keep hoping and believe that you can keep the victim alive. How do professional rescuers keep going?
5 1,000.
I don't relate it to a person, because if I've developed my own way of handling CPR and not getting involved with the patient, even if I know the patient, by saying, okay, do it just like you do for when you're teaching CPR or when you're working on a resuscitation, and it helps me to keep my level of calmness.
I more or less black out, who I'm doing it. A lot of times we have to. I've had to even do it with my stepfather when he had a heart attack. And I just more or less put it out of your mind, and you just more or less go with your training that you've had.
Maybe a fair chance that person that they're working on could live. And maybe put themselves in the instance, You'd hope that somebody working on you wouldn't give up.
Take a very strong stand. He's still alive, and take some signs that may actually not be life signs, but could be interpreted as such, and say, I just heard air, he just coughed, or something like that. Anything that could be construed as something consistent with life can be used to stimulate somebody to continue on, to work harder, whether it happened or not.
3 1,000. 3 1,000. Go, John! 5 1,000. Go, Ellie! 2 1,000. 3 1,000. 4 1,000. 5 1,000. Breathe, John! Breathe, John! Breathe! 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 Go on, John! John, go on! Good, good!
What are you doing to my chest?
Hang in there, hang in there.
You're hurting my
Been
chest.
pounding your chest for a couple hours. Come on, John. Come on. Take it easy. Take it easy. Hey, man.
Sorry, I threw up on you, Hank.
Hey, wait a minute. You're unconscious, man. How'd you know about that?
Often a victim will say he knew what went on during CPR. This is another reason for not giving up. If you give up, he'll give up.
I've had some personal experiences where victims have reported to me that they were aware, could hear. They were not very able to participate in their resuscitation, but were encouraged in some spiritual sense.
Easy. We're gonna get your clothes, your wet clothes off. We're gonna get you inside, all right?
I got some blankets, Hank.
A life has been saved. A happy ending? Not yet. The victim has been revived by CPR, but he is also hypothermic. Hypothermia is the loss of heat from the body core. It is treated by gently rewarming the core while insulating the extremities from further heat loss. Hypothermia is a very dangerous condition, and it is only one of the many complications to face in a near-drowning situation. That is why a third, final step must be taken. Get medical help.
Mayday, mayday.
Having professional medical help now when it's needed is only possible because you asked for help from the start and stayed in contact.
Continue CPR until you get medical assistance. Over.
Getting professional medical help is a necessary part of saving the life of a near-drowning victim.
Take everything into consideration what's happened to this person, especially in the cold water. That water out there is just miserably cold. And if you've got them revived, that's just the first step. Then, like you said, you have to go into treating them for hypothermia or treating for any other injuries.
If a near-drowning victim has aspirated water into the lungs, and if it's salt water, it will cause fluids to pour from the circulatory system into the lungs, and they'll have basically a horrendous case of pneumonia or pulmonary edema.
Are you stiff?
No, I'm fine. I can get up.
Okay.
An added danger is that the victim may not know he is threatened. Often hypothermia shows no symptoms at all.
How you feeling? I'm okay. What's your name? I'm John. John, okay. My name's Mike. Mike, how do you do? Yeah, I'm just fine, too. I'm an EMT. We're all EMTs. We're going to help you out, all right? Good for you. I feel fine. We'd like to take you in and have you checked over, okay? Come on, let's get it over. We can get you a little warmer and everything, okay?
Yes, he has conscience.
Often a drowning victim will try to refuse help and claim he feels fine. But these complications could occur immediately or many hours later.
Hi, John. A recent example occurred off Kodiak Island. A fisherman fell off a fishing vessel. CPR was given, and he regained consciousness quickly. Reaction, I feel fine. What's all the commotion around me? This man was either embarrassed, upset, or did not want to stop fishing and refused medical care, medical help. The skipper of the vessel prevailed and said, they're here, there's a doctor here, they want to check you over in a hospital. And he was basically ordered to do so, and he did. And he did develop this lung swelling and was quite sick, and it can be very serious.
We'll get you checked out real quick, then you can go home, all right?
Hey, Jack, we got him.
We have always believed to remain underwater for any length of time meant certain death. But in this program, we have learned it is possible to remain underwater for up to an hour and live if the victim is rescued promptly,
Take it easy with him. Good.
if he is immediately treated for near drowning using CPR,
Good!
and treated for hypothermia using slow and gentle rewarming,
Wipe clothes off, we're gonna get you inside, all right?
and if rescuers get professional help to treat the dangerous complications of near drowning.
Hey, Jack, we got him.
A human life is precious, yet sometimes so easily lost. But with the will to keep it and the knowledge to preserve it, life can be rekindled under circumstances we once thought were impossible.
Mayday, mayday. We have a man overboard.
The cold water makes the big difference.
Take it easy with him.
Rescue the victim.
He's dead.
Treat the victim.
Your man may still be alive.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000.
Don't stop until he's revived.
You know, any kind of effort is better than no effort at all.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's just no good. It's been too long.
CPR is hard physical labor.
Hank! 4,000.
It's depressing, it's exciting, it's frightening.
2,000, 3,000.
You must keep hoping and believe that you can keep the victim alive.
You'd hope that somebody working on you wouldn't give up.
A happy ending? Not yet. Hypothermia is a very dangerous condition.
How you feeling? I'm okay.
Get medical help.
We're all EMTs. We're going to help you out, all right?
Life can be rekindled under circumstances we once thought were impossible.
Hey, Jack, we got him.
Remember those of Kodiak and our fishing fleet who were lost at sea. Kano Dixon from the Cougar. Dwight Florin, also from the Cougar. Charles Parlett from the St. Patrick. Ricky Horn from the Spartan.
Too often we gather memorial services for friends lost at sea. Last year, the Coast Guard reported over 100 lives lost off the coast of Alaska. It's sad to think that many of them didn't have to die. Why do some live and others die in almost identical situations? One reason is that survivors never give up. They believe they're going to be rescued. They know that they must overcome every obstacle, must find solutions to every problem with one goal in mind: to stay alive. Another reason they survive is luck. But luck isn't something you can count on. Preparation is. You must be prepared for that disaster at sea. Know yourself, know your gear. There are 7 steps you need to know to survive at sea. They are recognition, inventory, shelter, signals, water, food, and play.
Crude or not, the most common last words heard on airline flight recorders is "oh shit." If we had recorders like that on fishing vessels, we'd hear pretty much the same thing. That's the first step of survival, recognition.
You've got to recognize that you're trying to save your life. You're not trying to save a load of fish, you're not trying to save the boat, you're trying to save your life. And before you can do that, you've got to recognize that it's in danger.
It wasn't mostly saving us, we were trying to save the boat, and I would say 100%. When we got to the point where we didn't know where the water was coming from, we took time out for me to get in my suit and me to get Dave's out now, but we were still working on the problem. The problem was the main thing.
We basically don't wait too long because the ship's not worth it. You can always buy another.
We had it. We thought we had it. And we were too late to get off. We just didn't know. Everything was stable up to 1 second. It just turned on us.
This scene will show what the recognition stage is all about.
Yeah, Hank.
Hey, Dave, we're feeling a little sluggish. You want to go back and pull the cover on the lazarette?
Yeah, I got you covered.
What's going on down there?
Okay.
Taking on a hell of a lot of water down here.
Hey, Hank, we're taking on some water down there. What?
John, pull the suits out on deck.
Okay, I'll get the suits.
John, go down to the lazarette and see if the drains are working.
Okay. Jesus Christ, tell the skip there's a hell of a lot of water coming in down here.
Comstate Kodiak, this is the fishing vessel Northern Challenger.
Northern Challenger, this is Comstate Kodiak. Go ahead, sir.
Thought I'd call you. I think we got a problem, okay? Over?
Roger, what's the nature of your problem, sir?
We're taking on water in the lazarette. Don't know how bad it is yet. Okay, over?
Northern Challenger, Comstate. Roger, sir. What's your present position?
I can't stop it. It's coming in too damn fast.
Come on now. What's going on back there?
It's bad, Hank. We got to get the hell off this piece of shit.
This recognition phase is also the time for panic. It's normal to be afraid when you realize that you may die.
You guys, get your suits on. It's a precaution. I'll talk to the Coast Guard.
On the other hand, some people get so involved in remaining calm and dealing with the situation that they never get around to fighting for their own life.
I didn't really think it was going over when I went to the 45. I thought it was going to come back up, and I was giving a mayday at the time, and I saw Joe disappear, and I saw the, as he went out the hatch, the water was halfway up it, and I thought, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to, I'm going out the hatch too. So I dove for the hatch, and it was already full of water, and I thought I'd waited too late. It was really kind of that's probably what gave me the extra energy to get out, because I thought I waited too late. I wasn't going to get out of this one.
After the wave hit, the boat was over on its side. There was a lot of water up against the door. But Doc was the first one out of the three of us to grab the door, and he started yelling, "We got to open the door. These guys got to be able to get out. We got to open the door." He did not even think of himself, and he was functioning really well about it. Then, when we got the door open and the boat came back up, you would think that would be the time to calm down. Well, that's when he got more excited. That's when he panicked.
It's normal to be afraid, but control of that fear is vital. If you let panic take control, you may die. The second step of survival is inventory. Inventory is backing off long enough to take a good look at what can kill you, what can hurt you, and what can help you stay alive. If you've been prepared, you may have survival equipment. If not, you still have resources that'll help you stay alive. Maybe a knife, a piece of plastic, a set of keys. Take a hard look at what's going to help you stay alive.
So that's when I started getting my facilities together. So we got to go up, have the life raft ready in case we need it. We got to get rid of these gas bottles, oxygen bottles, in case they do blow up. We got to throw them over the side so they're bouncing around. We got to clear some of this debris out of the path so we've got an escape exit. And everything just started coming together pretty good.
I got out flares, a flare gun, the beeper, and when it was time, like we say, we were head sick, it was too late. We thought we had it. And we ended up just with our suits, no pockets on the suits, you couldn't take anything. I did shove some flares in the suit, zip it up, but you can't haul that much.
We lost we lost the flare gun, everything.
We went empty-handed. We had everything set up.
ELT, everything was set right out, and it went down with the boat because it's just that fast.
Leave your boots on, man. You're gonna need them. Leave your boots on.
Usually, you don't have much time to inventory. But if your survival gear is where you need it, you've already bought yourself extra time.
Come on, Hank.
The third step to survival is shelter. What is shelter? Shelter is anything that protects you from your environment. What is your environment? In this case, it's the sea. When you're offshore, your boat is your shelter. Even when damaged, it's still probably your best shelter. Don't let the myth that a sinking boat will suck you under cause you to abandon ship too soon.
He just said, well, we got to get overboard. We got to get overboard. Nothing else was on his mind. He couldn't reason with him. No matter what I said to him or pushed him or anything, his eyes just had that glassy look, and he just kept saying the same thing over again. The boat's going to flip. We got to get off. We got to get off.
At the same time, don't set yourself up to be trapped inside should your vessel go down. Be prepared with your next best shelter, which is your life raft, or after that, your survival suit.
When you went and got the suits, did you have real confidence in the suits based on your experience with them before?
Yes, I did. Yes, I felt it's the safest thing we had aboard. Yes.
First thing to reach for.
I wouldn't go in the water without them. I'd stay with the boat until it sank.
Besides your vessel, life raft, and survival suits, clothing is also your shelter. Your clothing should be worn loose and in layers. It should include wool or other materials that are effective when wet.
I would recommend woolies or coveralls. I'd like to see, I have a pair of woolies stashed right with my survival suit now, right there. So if I just throw them on right over my clothes or whatever.
You can't have too much shelter in cold water. These survivors have warm clothing, survival suits, and a raft, and they're taking it all.
Put your container red. Let's get the hell out of here. Come on, Hank, let's go!
Remember to tie the painter to your vessel before you launch the life raft. If you are unable to get to the raft, the hydrostatic release should free it automatically. However, if at all possible, launch it manually. That way there's less chance of its being caught in the rigging.
Where's Hank? Hank still there? Hank!
Always launch on the lee side so the wind won't push the raft against the vessel.
Hank, we got the raft in the water. Hurry up!
The issue here is normal. The raft has pressure relief valves to keep it from bursting as it inflates.
Mayday, Mayday, Comstate, this is Northern Challenger. We're going over.
Northern Challenger, this is Comstate Kodiak. Roger, sir. Can you confirm your position, please?
We're 2 miles off Spruce Cape. We're going over. We're going over.
Get us away from the ship. Where the hell's Hank?
Keep the raft tied to the vessel as long as you can. You'll stay closer to your last reported position, and rescuers will spot you more easily. You should only cut the painter line to free the raft when fire on board endangers the raft and survivors, or when there's a risk of damage to the raft.
Rigging's coming down, John! There's the boat! Watch out for the rigging, it's going over! Jesus, he's in the water without a suit! Hurry up, John!
After everyone is in the raft and for the moment safe, realize every time the survival situation changes, there are new circumstances to consider. Go through the survival steps from the beginning.
Let me check on Hank.
Recognition. Recognize that your life is still in danger.
You want to get everybody start taking stuff out of their pockets and see what we've got here?
Okay.
Inventory. What are your immediate and long-term dangers? Inventory now includes accounting for crew, taking care of injuries.
How you doing, Hank?
Looking through survival gear in the raft and your own personal gear.
Seasick pills, that's what we need.
A Coast Guard approved life raft will have supplies to help you stay alive, afloat, and help your rescuers find you.
Here's something we can use. It's a radio.
Oh, all right.
The third step, shelter, reminds you to improve your shelter to prevent heat loss. You're now at the fourth step, which is to speed up your rescue with signals. Signals must do two jobs: attract attention and convey a message. In this case, the message is help. In a survival situation at sea, those signals may include a mirror, flare, radio beacon, dye marker, light, or you.
Down here!
Anything can be used as a signal if it attracts attention and says help. Keep in mind, some signals show up better in the daytime and others at night. Above all, always be ready. The fifth step of survival is to collect and conserve water.
John, can I have some water?
A Coast Guard approved life raft normally has 6 pints of water for each person it's designed to carry. But every day we lose over 2 pints of water from our bodies just through breathing. Don't make any unnecessary motions. You don't need to lose more water through sweat. Also, keep in mind that you can go days without water and weeks without food. If survivors have to await rescue for a period of days and perhaps weeks, water and food then become critical. The sixth step is food. Even drifting in a survival suit, you may encounter foods such as seaweed, birds, fish, and other sea animals. If you are in a life raft, these natural foods are supplemented by rations which are designed for limited water situations. Remember, you need water to digest food, and your body will rob itself of fluids for digestion. If you don't have water, don't eat. The seventh step is called play.
I tell you about Adam in the Garden of Eden.
Oh, I don't want to hear that one either. That makes me feel sicker than I already am.
When we say play, we mean laughing, telling jokes, praying, singing, making up stories, any positive activity that keeps you oriented toward life. Depression is going to be your most serious adversary.
See some animal pictures?
It helped. I just prayed and thinking of all kinds of different things. I even laughed a few times. I don't know why. I thought maybe I was going crazy. boy, look at me out here. I ain't even got a paddle. This is ridiculous. And I'm thinking these stupid things. I didn't know if I was going delirious or what.
We've given you these 7 steps to help you make it through the survival situation. But keep in mind, you're not a survivor until after the rescue.
Rescue can be by vessel or an aircraft. If it's by a helicopter, it should go something like this. Knowing the 7 steps for survival has led to a successful rescue for these men. How can you prepare for a future survival situation?
Comstate Kodiak, this is the fishing vessel Northern Challenger.
Be bigger than your pride. Let help know when you first encounter a problem. Don't wait until it's a mayday. That early call may be your only call before a disaster.
We're 57 degrees, 51 minutes north.
Does your crew know how to put out a mayday with the name of your vessel and your position?
I talked to a person that was in the hospital with me in Kodiak. It was really a coincidence. I was in my room and they brought a man in and he says, "Oh, I was out there fishing that night. I heard your mayday." I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, he's not a commercial fisherman. He just, was out fishing for the sport." And he says, "I just kept hearing mayday, mayday, mayday." He goes, "But I never heard a follow-through with the name or anything." And he goes, "Otherwise, we were waiting." And the Coast Guard said the same thing, that they had heard the mayday, but there's a lot of water out there and a lot of ocean, and they couldn't cover unless they got something else to go on.
Do your crew members have assigned duties for emergencies, and have they practiced them?
I worked on the Signet for 6 months, and we drilled every other month, one time. Once every other month, and it was plenty. I mean, I knew how to get into a suit. I knew how I was going to float when I hit the water, and I knew I was going to be dry in that suit.
Are your survival suits stowed in a safe, accessible location? Are the suits regularly inspected and tested in the water by the crew members whose lives depend on them?
Assign everyone a job, where to meet on the boat, and just give them a brief idea if we're in trouble, do as I say and listen to me.
It just never expect it to happen to you, and when you do, it's kind of a shock.
Do your crew members understand how and when to launch your life raft?
Know your gear. Make sure you have the right survival equipment in good condition and stowed where you can get to it quickly. Practice with that gear. Have emergency drills.
In this program, we have learned the 7 steps for survival: recognition, inventory, shelter, signals, water, food, and play. Preparation for survival is your responsibility. Knowing these 7 steps is part of your preparation. We all say we want to live, but some work at it harder than others. Those are the survivors.
Charles Parlett from the St. Patrick.
There are 7 steps you need to know to survive at sea.
Hey, Hank, we're taking on some water down there.
You're trying to save your life, and before you can do that, you've got to recognize that it's in danger.
Tell the skip there's a hell of a lot of water coming in down here.
It's normal to be afraid when you realize that you may die.
You want to get everybody start taking stuff out of their pockets and see what we've got here?
Take a hard look at what's going to help you stay alive.
Leave your boots on, man. You're gonna need them.
Shelter is anything that protects you from your environment.
Jesus, he's in the water without a suit.
Anything can be used as a signal if it attracts attention and says help.
Down here!
John, can I have some water?
But every day we lose over 2 pints of water from our bodies just through breathing. If you don't have water, don't eat.
I don't want to hear that one either.
Depression is going to be your most serious adversary. We all say we want to live, but some work at it harder than others. Those are the survivors.
This is the Coast Guard Cobstay Kodiak, Channel 16. Vessel calling Mayday. Identify yourself. Over. This is the fishing. Position is 15. Damage. Distressed vessel, this is Coast Guard Cobstay Kodiak. You are coming in broken and unreadable. Any vessel in the area hearing distressed vessel, please relay. Over. They're abandoning ship. Sinking!
When a ship sinks, most survivors are picked up at sea, but a few have spent as much as a month waiting on shore for rescue. No matter where you are, no matter how long it takes, staying alive is the bottom line. You can never give up. Everything you do has one purpose, staying alive. The 7 steps to survival can help you pull that off. The 7 steps for survival are recognition, inventory, shelter, signals, water, food, and play. Recognition is the first step to survival. You have to recognize and deal with each new situation.
Tom! Tom, give us a hand.
Now what? You're not safe just because you made it ashore. It's as easy to die on land as it is at sea. Recognize that your life is still in danger. You can't act logically until you do.
I think the biggest feeling I had was I was just surprised to be alive. You know, when we hit, you know, I just kept looking through the windshield waiting for some big rocker at the side of the hill to come up, and I wanted to see it coming for something. I expected to die. I my biggest feeling, I guess I was just surprised to be alive.
After I got out of that crash, I was bound and determined I made it this far, I wasn't going to die. I was going to make it.
I didn't expect really to live through it. I mean, we were so far away from anywhere. You know, no way to get in touch with anybody. Nobody knew we were out there. And I thought, you know, we'll just fall asleep and die, because I didn't think. It was just numb. Everything was numb. And I didn't know what happened to my dad and Randy. And so we just sort of tried to sleep.
When I did get to about 100 yards offshore, I went into a bad area that was really rough, and it tore my survival suit off. Well, I had to take it off. I was drowning. And then I found myself without a survival suit. So the depression went right back down again. It started all over again. I was like starting from the bottom. And I kept thinking to myself, well, you know, you might as well just give up. This is ridiculous. And I just kind of looked up and asked the Lord why he was doing it to me. Let me make it through all this just to give me another obstacle to go against. And I finally made it up to the cliff. And then I looked and I had another obstacle. I had to climb the cliff. I said, no, I can't take it no more.
Sometimes panic will follow recognition.
I'm getting out of here. Walking out's the quickest way to die. Tom!
Uncontrolled, it can kill you. Preparation is your best weapon against panic. The more you know, the more control you have, and the less you panic. Recognition is understanding and accepting that your life is in danger and that you must act to stay alive. Your first action after recognition is inventory. Inventory is taking stock of what can keep you alive and what can hurt you.
Hey, Skipper. Skipper, this guy don't look too good.
We're gonna have to strip his wet clothes off and see if we can't warm him up. Hey, Tom, we're gonna need you.
Look at what can hurt you. Major injuries must be confronted. In inventory, take care of people first. A hostile environment, bad weather, poor protection from the sea will all work against you.
We got out with our lives and what we had on our back.
Yeah, I suppose I think the first thing we did was try to find out who was still alive and where they were, and trying to locate the people and get them away from the wreckage was still burning, and get as many of them away as we could.
There were a lot of shoes and boots washed up. No food, but all the shoes and boots, and no other clothes other than just that one sweater. So my dad had a pair of boots on, and we got a pair for Gina Lynn. And she put the sweater on sort of upside down with her legs through the arms, so she was covered.
Tom, how about staying with John? Ken, would you help me go through what we got and see what's going to help us make it in this place?
Sure.
Look at what can help you. Familiar objects used in new ways can become important tools for survival.
Well, we won't need this stuff anymore.
No, don't throw it away. Everything's important. Might need it later.
Your best resources are your knowledge and your common sense. Use your imagination and be creative. Debris on the beach and natural resources are important. There may even be wreckage from your accident. Anything could become a valuable survival tool. Inventory prepares you to make the right decisions. After you've inventoried your resources, you're ready to act. With a better view of your situation, you're ready for the next step, shelter. Protection from the wind, wet, and cold that can rob you of life. Shelter is anything that protects your body from heat loss. Your primary shelter, clothing, uses insulating materials such as wool or fiberfill to trap in warm air. Worn loose and in layers, clothing provides the best protection. Remember, keep clothing dry. Water can rob your body of heat 25 times faster than air at the same temperature.
Skipper, we need a car for John.
Now, we'd be a lot better off building a shelter. We could build back in those trees.
If we build back in those trees, and no one will see us. Why don't we just build one right here?
There's plenty of driftwood, that's for sure.
It doesn't matter what kind of shelter you build, so long as you use insulated materials to hold in the heat. It can be built from boughs of trees or driftwood. Sod, moss, and grass trap air like wool. They're nature's version of insulation. The smaller the shelter, the better, so body warmth can heat the space within the insulation. It should be airtight and shed water. Make a small doorway that you can block up.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Adequate shelter will keep you warm and alive.
I guess the plan that we had was try to get people close together as much as we could and sort of try to weather out the night that way. Maybe cut up the rafts some more to get shelter from the wind and the rain.
We knew how to put the sail up to where it's best, and by that time we were just about gave up on even trying to have a lean-to because it just kept blowing down and the wind blowing through. And so when we lay down to go to sleep, we just wrapped up in the sail instead, and it kept our body heat in there, and it was nicer.
I decided to dig and bury myself, and I put leaves and sticks and everything else on me. I don't think I slept. I shivered at 90 miles an hour all night, so. And I ended up doing that 2 or 3 more times. And the last time I did it, I'd found a tree that had fallen over, and it was like roots going into the ground still. It was like a little cave, natural cave. So I took the moss, you could pick it up in big sections out there. And I just kept putting it over them and over them, and I made myself a little hot, and I got inside. And
Staying alive means staying warm. That's why effective shelter is so important. Once you're warm, work on being rescued. Signals are your only direct way to ask for help.
Are you sure this is going to work?
Well, what the hell? That's the best I can do.
An airplane. An airplane!
An airplane! Let's get out of here! Go, 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 go! Woo! Hey! Air! Hey! Hey! Woo! Hey, over here! Over here! Hey! Where?
Home! Too damn late.
God damn it! God damn it!
They missed us. How could they miss us?
You can be missed if your signals don't attract attention and ask for help. They have to stand out from the environment, and they have to be visible to boats and planes. At night, use signals that generate light, such as a fire.
High cost of living.
To a passing boat or plane, even a large bonfire can look like a beach party. The universal distress signal is not 1 fire, but 3.
We're gonna keep that one lit all the time. Let's have these other 2 ready just in case.
You can't have too many signals. Call for help in as many ways as possible.
Bueno!
And always be ready. Make signals that work when you're there and when you're not.
We listened for planes, and we thought we heard boats. And so we had some drift that we'd found, you know, some plastic jugs and some rope and stuff that we figured if anything came close, we would just throw it on the fire, and we knew it would send up a black smoke.
Did you try to signal him or anything?
Oh yeah, I saw him coming. I took off down the hill,
Screaming?
waving.
Yeah, jumping up and down.
Yeah.
Were you the only one?
I think you were right behind me.
Yeah, I was in hot pursuit.
The longer it takes to be rescued, the more important the remaining steps become. The 5th step is water. An adequate supply of water must be found.
Skipper?
Yeah. My piss looks funny. It's kind of dark.
Yeah, well, you're probably dehydrated. We all need water.
Survivors must stay healthy to stay alive. Dehydration is life-threatening. Your body needs at least 6 pints of water a day. That's 3 quarts. It's hard to drink enough when all you have is water. If possible, be sure and boil your water to kill anything growing in it.
Here you go, Tom.
Oh, okay.
Survivors have lived for weeks on water alone, but over the long haul, Maintaining good health means finding nutritious food. Food is the sixth step, but what some people recognize as food, others may not.
Water is not enough for me. I want to get something to eat.
Yeah, while you're at it, get me a steak to go with my beer.
Make mine barbecue chicken.
Hot fudge sundae, lots of whipped cream, 3 cherries.
You guys are going to be sorry when I get back.
Just a minute, I'll go with you.
Here, take this. I'm gonna go with them.
And I'll watch the fire.
What are you doing?
I'm going hunting.
Food's down here, Tom.
I can't eat any of that stuff. I'm going hunting.
That's wrong. Nobody takes off by himself around here. You don't even have a gun. What are you gonna do, wrestle it? Come on, there's plenty of good food down here in the tidal pool. We'll go get some.
Some people have grown up by the sea and can find food where others see nothing. Be prepared to adapt to a new and different diet. People have died because they refused to eat unfamiliar food.
Is this thing poisonous?
No way, that's good food. All right.
It's not bad, Skipper. But I got an eye on a seagull over here I'm gonna get.
Come on, give me a break, would you?
Seafood is a good source of protein and carbohydrates, and seaweed contains many minerals, so the tide pools can provide a well-balanced diet.
I got it!
Unless you're allergic to seafood, you have little worry about getting poisoned. Stay away from clams and mussels because of the danger of red tide. In a survival situation, don't take chances. Eat what is safe. Limpets, sea urchins, barnacles, most snails, chitons, crabs of all sizes, and seaweed. Land plants are also a source of nutrients. Each region offers different plants. Get to know which plants in your region are edible.
I wanted a fudgesicle so bad, and she wanted a strawberry milkshake. Because we were so dehydrated, it was cold foods we liked. We talked about and candy and just every kind of food. Pizzas and every topping we would put on a pizza. And a lot of that. And we'd say it over and over. We'd say, well, let's talk about this again. That was nice. Let's talk about that. And we'd say things over and over and just imagine them so vividly that it was some sort of satisfaction in it.
Felt almost like you'd eaten the meal, huh?
Yeah. And then we'd eat our seaweed.
A balanced diet means good health at home. In survival, it's essential. Good health also means good mental health. The seventh step, play, deals with this critical need. Being positive and preventing depression is what play is all about.
Shit!
They're not coming. Nobody's coming.
You guys have been sitting around too much, that's the trouble.
One more limpet, I'm gonna puke.
Tom, you wanted to go hunting so bad before. Why don't you go ahead and see if you can't find that wire and put a snare together. You can take John with you. Ken will fill in for your watch while you're gone.
One of the biggest problems among survivors is depression. It can actually lower body temperature and cause hypothermia. It can undermine your will to live and rob you of judgment and caution. Depression and the loss of will to live are documented causes of death among survivors of traumatic accidents.
It just got to be a battle with myself on thinking of the positive things instead of, oh, I'm going to die, I'm going to die.
Until you're dead, you don't stop because you never know what you can do. And the next day a boat will come by and you just keep going and keep trying.
The antidote to depression is play. Play means keeping busy to keep your mind off your troubles. Better your situation by improving your food, shelter, and signals. Make a game out of anything.
Left, button hook, in and out. I keep the ball. On 3, break.
What?
Set.
That's not
amazing.
Surprise, surprise! Strike 3! Strike 3!
Really makes me realize how much Susie and the kids mean to me.
Remind yourself of all the reasons to stay alive.
Y'all don't worry about me.
I love you. Bye.
Remember that depression can strike when times are easy as well as tough. Guard against it in yourself and in others.
Gina, when she would be so despondent, and like my dad got mad at her and said, you know, if you don't shape up, we're going to leave you behind. And of course, there's no way we would have ever have left her behind, but you can't, there's just no way you can do that and still make it. And it was the only way we could deal with it, was just tell her, you got it, you can't do that. And how do we know? You know, why should she believe us that we're going to get through? Why shouldn't she just sit there and try to be warm and try to rest? But I just don't think you can do it. You have to keep going.
These 7 steps aren't foolproof. They're not a perfect formula. Common sense and a little luck are needed, but the more you know, the better your chances to survive. Recognize you're in trouble. Inventory the situation for its liabilities and resources. Shelter and protect your body from exposure and heat loss. Look ahead and have signals that work with you or without you. Dehydration will rob you of health. Staying healthy will make the difference between life and death. You can survive without food, but if you have to wait days before being rescued, use your head instead of your strength in getting food. Play is a word to describe a positive mental attitude. It also means constructive activity, which helps you improve your situation. You can have all kinds of gear in a survival kit, but that's only a comfort kit compared to the survival kit between your ears. Use your head and the 7 steps, and with a little luck, you can stay alive until rescue.
Hey! Hey! John! Hey! Hey! Down here! Here, over here! Woo! Down here! Down here! Down here! Woo!
Judging from their activity, we believe they're in excellent condition, and we're going to go in to hoist it this time. Over.
Everything you do has one purpose, staying alive. You have to recognize and deal with each new situation.
Now what?
Your first action after recognition is inventory.
Skipper, this guy don't look too good.
Your best resources are your knowledge and your common sense.
Now we'd be a lot better off building a shelter.
Why don't we just build one right here?
Shelter is anything that protects your body from heat loss.
Are you sure this is going to work?
You can't have too many signals.
An airplane!
Home! Too damn late.
How could they miss us?
Survivors must stay healthy to stay alive. Your body needs at least 6 pints of water a day.
Water isn't that enough for me. I want to get something to eat.
Be prepared to adapt to a new and different diet.
I keep the ball. Break!
The antidote to depression is play.
Street!
And with a little luck, you can stay alive until rescue.
And we're going to go in to hoist